Hello, hello. Hello, welcome. People are coming in. Hi, friends. You can go ahead and say hello to us in the chat if you want so we can see who's here. Tell us where you're coming in from. I'm in Florida. It was a little chilly this morning, but it has warmed up kind of nicely, so I'm having a great day weather-wise. Hi, Janet. Hey, Don. Wichita State University, hello. I'm so glad to see you all. Hey, Jasmine, New Jersey Institute of Technology, hello. Lone Star College, Houston, Texas, hello, hello. It's so great to see everyone. There's Gabby. Hi, Gabby. Hi, Teresa, University of Hawaii. Welcome. Polk State, welcome, welcome. St. Paul College in Minnesota. Oh, hi, Sarah. Welcome to our webinar. We just got connected. All right. Friends, I'm so excited to welcome you to our very first webinar for our student parent organization, Designing for Growth, Agency, and Belonging for Student Parents. My name is Rebecca Ramos. I'm a senior education designer at the lab, was a student parent, was a faculty member, and now I get to have the pleasure of leading our student parent work at Education Design Lab. But you will get to know me in the next hour as we chat with our amazing student parents. We are going to take a moment and ground ourselves in our community's values. When we designed our community, our student parent success or SPORG community, our student parents and college practitioners helped us define these values for our community. So every time we start a session together, we just take a second to reflect on those. Um, I will just highlight them. We are family first. We believe in progress over perfection. We share power and agency. We are co-designing for change together. We foster inclusivity and belonging. We believe in diverse definitions of success, and we engage with compassion and respect. So we're going to take a second and do this really fun thing. If you were a facilitator online, or if you are a professor who facilitates in Zoom, this is a great little trick that we use. It's called a Chatterfall. We stole it from someone, I think. But go ahead and steal this if you like it. It's a great way for us to interact with a bunch of people at once. So, Chatterfall, what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you the question. This question is, what is one of these values that is speaking to you today? And I'll give you some time to type an answer, but don't hit send in the chat. You're going to wait until I count down to one, and then everyone will contribute at once, and we'll have this beautiful chatterfall of amazing ideas. So, which of these values, or is there a phrase here that you're excited to see? What are you leaning into today? Or do you have another value that you're bringing to the table? I'll give you all a very short couple of seconds. Don't hit send, just get it ready to go in the chat. 3, 2, 1, chatter. I'm seeing family first. We are always family first. Love to see our friends in the house who are small people, believing in progress over perfection. I see lots of family first. Diverse definitions of success. I see inclusivity and belonging. Thank you so much. Okay, that's a chatterfall. So we're going to try it again. This time I'm making it just a little bit more complicated, but I do believe in our collective ability to harness this. Okay, this is a two-parter. So I'm asking you for a number and maybe a couple of words. The number is a scale, 1 to 5. Right now, in your context, in whatever institution you are working in, how confident do you feel in your current ability to identify and implement effective strategies to support student parents in higher education? So that's a number. How comfortable do you feel doing this work? Then some words. same chat. You don't have to do two separate chats. Same chat. Give us some words. What tools, what knowledge, what supports do you have right now or do you use when you're thinking about supporting student parents? Saying I don't actually have any is totally fine, and it just helps us look really good at the end when you're like, now I have a bunch. So please be as open and honest as you can. One is the lowest, like the least amount of confidence. Five is the most amount of confidence. Thank you for that, Ansara. So we're going to do the same thing. I'll give you just a little longer, maybe like a minute and a half to get some answers in there. Remember, we're looking for a number and some words. Scale of 1 to 5. Right now, in your context as faculty member, administrator, ecosystem partner, how comfortable do you feel? And then what tools, knowledge, and supports do you use or do you have? And we will start. Oh, I see people are going, and it is totally fine. If you're holding on to wait, we'll give it a couple seconds. All right. And you can go ahead. If you've been holding on to your answers, you can go ahead and stick those into that chat for us. Amazing. I see they're coming through. I see campus funding. I see empathy. I see, what else am I seeing? Support would be good working relationships with colleagues across the campus to get students connected to resources. Amazing. How do we get students connected to those resources that we have for them? Um, a national network. Some folks have minimal support. Some folks are trying to find access for student parents after that 9 to 5 block. That's a huge problem that we hear from student parents as well. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now we'll jump into some fun things. Again, my name is Rebecca Ramos. I'm a senior education designer at the lab, and I'm leading our student parent work. This is one of our projects that we're working on right now, and our project is really focused on the idea of connecting student parents to both each other and to higher education practitioners who want to support them better as they navigate their academic journey. We know that 1 in 5 students in college is a parent. And if you work at a community college, hello, my community college friends, that number for you is more like 1 in 3. So 30% of your student population is a student parent. So the great news is that today at the end of this session, I'm going to give you a flyer that you can put up in your office to invite the student parents on your campus to join this community and connect with other student parents. The community space that we have built for them is just for student parents. We're connecting them to compensated opportunities to help them share their stories, share their expertise. And we're also tailoring workshops, webinars, and resources to help student parents navigate the employment system and all of the other things that our student parents are asking about. For higher education and ecosystem partners, don't worry, we have a space for you in our community as well. And that space is really geared towards mobilization and implementation of strategies that we've co-designed with our student parents. In this space, you are there you can learn from each other, you can learn from student parents. We're building tools with our community, and we have community design challenges for you every month for you to engage in. Also, design sprints are happening, and we have community chats that are always live and full of joy and hope. We try. So that is our current project that we're working on, and this is our first webinar series. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Miriam to talk a little bit more about the lab's work and why today we are focusing on growth, agency, and belonging.
Thank you, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. My name is Miriam Swartz-Kalk. I am head of design practice at the lab and have been lucky enough to be involved in the lab student parent work for the last 6 years or so. So super grateful to be here with y'all today. Like Rebecca mentioned, I wanted to just take a minute to sort of zoom us out and talk about, as she mentioned, some things that we think about at the lab big picture when we're thinking about how to approach design work with all kinds of different learners and workers. And of course, in this case, we're focusing on how we do design work with student parents and with people who want to better support them. So thinking about the chatterfall that y'all just did, right? Starting to think about and share collectively what it looks like or what it could look like to more strongly support student parents. At the lab, we like to think about supporting students through the lens of supporting learners' engagement. And we think that's really important for a number of different reasons. And there's a ton of research that's been done over the last 50 years in the fields of psychology and behavioral science to back this up. But you can think of learner engagement as really about learners' behaviors, thoughts, feelings that they have in learning environments that they're in. And this really matters because if we can support learners' engagement in a really high quality way, there's a ton of research that shows that this has a causal relationship with supporting persistence in learning, people learning actually more deeply, retaining that learning longer term, reaching goals that they have for themselves in their learning experiences and in their careers, bigger picture. And I think most importantly, there's a ton of research that shows that if you can support learners' engagement really strongly, you actually can support their well-being in a much deeper and more meaningful way during those learning experiences and beyond that as well. Another thing that comes from this research that we hang on to really dearly at the lab and that guides our work is that no learner is inherently engaged or disengaged. And what that means is that in the design work that we do with different communities, we can think about how to redesign learning experiences, career experiences, et cetera, to more strongly support learners' engagement. And again, that's really what we're going to be talking about today, right? What kinds of changes, what kinds of supports, what kinds of environments can really strongly support student parents' engagement during school and in career and in all different kinds of environments they might find themselves in. Um, the most important thing, again, that we're going to be focusing on today, um, that comes from this research, is that there are three what we call drivers of engagement that yeah, again, thousands and thousands of studies from the last 50 years show are really critical for supporting people's high quality engagement in learning. And those three drivers are, we refer to them at the lab as growth, belonging, and agency. I'll say you can, if you want to learn more, there's a ton of research out there again on the internet. The lab has a ton of resources as well about what, yeah, we call our learner engagement framework, as you see here, that encapsulates all of this. And this comes from this broader body of work called self-determination theory. But these three drivers of engagement, again, we can think of as the uh, the core ingredients for supporting students' engagement and their well-being bigger picture. So again, things we're going to be talking about today, hearing from student parents themselves about in terms of what might frustrate and or support these drivers for them. But I'll just give you a super brief overview of what these are so that we can keep that in mind as we move forward in the conversation. And actually looking at so much of what y'all shared in the chat earlier, I think a ton of those supports that you already know to be meaningful relate back to these three drivers, right? Growth, these are not listed in any order either, I will say. All three of these are critically important for supporting all learners' engagement and well-being and success. But I'll start with growth. We can think of growth as people being able to see and feel the way that they're growing, the way that they're making progress toward their goals, and really having that sense that they can succeed in the learning that they're doing. So, all different kinds of things that y'all shared relate back to this, right? Anytime we're thinking about how to better align or streamline access to supports for example, basic tangible needs, academic supports, advising, etc., that actually can be really supportive of growth because it can make people feel like they're more capable of being successful and can also help them see how they're on the path toward, yeah, toward their goals. Belonging, I think that so many of us talk about all the time, right? This is really about does a learner feel like they are embraced as their authentic selves in the environment that they're in? Do they feel connected to other people? Do they feel like they're in supportive relationships? And do they feel like they're able to contribute to the community that they're part of too, from where they sit? Again, so many things y'all wrote, virtual communities, different opportunities for student parents to connect with each other, and just all of these positive relationships we know to be important in student parents' journeys, all certainly are belonging supportive. And last but not least, agency. Agency is really about learners feeling like they are in the driver's seat, like they get to make choices that matter to them about their learning experiences, and like those learning experiences as a whole align with their goals, priorities, interests, what feels important to them. So one of the things I loved seeing in the chat earlier was access beyond 9 to 5, right? We know that there are particular kinds of flexibility in scheduling, let's say, in time and place of learning that for student parents and many other learners are so critically important in order to support them being able to balance work, life, school, parenting, family, all the different things that yeah, that are so important in their lives. So again, amazing that y'all are already thinking along these lines. And again, really excited to hear from our panelists about what they think is critical in supporting these three drivers. I'll say just to, one last thing. Uh, I think it's always important, and we'll get to this later in the webinar, to, understand certainly what can support these drivers generally for many different students, for many different student parents. And perhaps the most important thing is to always remember that we'll learn a ton by going and asking student parents what they think will best support each of these drivers for them. So really critical to, yeah, maintain that dialogue and always go back to hearing directly from the people we want to better support and serve. Yeah, what's going to support their sense of growth, belonging, agency. So excited to do some of that right now.
Yes, thank you so much, Miriam. I am so excited to bring you all this amazing panel of student parent moms and have some really interesting conversations with them. I know this isn't really about me, but I will share that I was lucky enough to start working at the lab doing some contracting work when I was still teaching, and I still adjunct now. And as a professor, once I started thinking about growth agency and belonging for my students as I created my courses, I started to really feel differently about my classes, and my students seemed to respond differently. Would love to get into the weeds with that with y'all someday about how these drivers impacted, like the instructional world of mine. But for now, it's not about me, so let's talk to our panelists. Hello, all of our wonderful friends. We have several folks here, so I am going to have you go right down the line. Anna first, then Marissa, Ansara, Lauren, Brianna, and Eva. I'm sorry that Anna's picture disappeared. Um, Technology sometimes eats people's pictures, and that's what happens. But Anna is here, so we can see her beautiful face anyway. So we'll start with you, Anna, the invisible picture on there. Can you just tell us your name, what you're going to school for, or what you went to school for? I know some of us have recently graduated, and maybe your favorite thing about being a parent.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna Camino. No worries about my picture not being up there. I understand. I'm sometimes tend to struggle with technology and I'm just like, where did my stuff go? So I totally get it. But I am very thankful to have the opportunity to be here and share. So I'm currently at UC Irvine. It is my fourth year, so I am set to graduate in June. And I'm really excited about that because it's going to be my first summer off in 4 years. Since I started community college, I have not taken a break. I've just been going because I really want to make something of myself for my children. But I am majoring in psychological science with a minor in criminology, law, and society. I'd like to think of myself as a pre-law student, but I do have some challenges that don't allow me to really be that full pre-law student because I'm a parent, so I can't engage in all these clubs and organizations as other pre-law students. But one of my favorite things that I love about being a parent is the fact that I get to have someone to come home to every single day that is so happy to see me. And even with my teenage daughter who's about to be 17, there's those little moments where she will come up to me late at night and actually want to talk to me. And I'm just like ready to go to sleep. And I'm like, if this is the only moment she wants to give to me, then I'm gonna take it. So those are I think one of the most meaningful for me. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Anna. I was about to assume that your children were younger when you said when they're excited to see me when I come home because my teenagers have lost the excitement that they used to have when mom arrived.
Well, I do have a 6-year-old and then I have my 16-year-old. They're exactly 10 years apart. So I guess that's where I'm like, I was kind of like, I tell everybody I was going through the terrible twos and the pre-teenage years at the same time. And that was an experience I don't think I would wish on anybody.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for being here, Anna. I'm so excited to hear more about you and your journey that today. How about Marissa?
Hello, everyone. I am Marissa. I recently graduated in the fall, but I'm actually going to my graduation ceremony next week. So I'm super excited about that. but I graduated with a bachelor's in psychology, and I'm actually going to start right away in the summer with my master's. So I'm still like in that process, but I kind of had a little few months of just taking a break. So it was really nice. But I mean, as a parent, I literally, because I'm a homeschool parent, so I have 4 kids, two boys and 2 girls, 6, 8, 10, and 12, and they're all kind of moving on to the next. So I have like the dynamics of like the younger ages and the kind of the preteen, but also the girl drama and the boy drama. And it's a whole world of adventure. But, but being a student parent, I mean, I had those late nights where because I homeschool as well, but I'll homeschool my kids around the afternoon. I'll take a nap and then feed them dinner in the evening, and then I would basically do my schooling. So this break has been interesting because my body's still not like, I'd be up like at 1 in the morning wondering why I can't sleep. And it's because I just conditioned myself that way. But yeah, I'm excited for this community and watching it grow and being able to um, learn alongside everybody. But it's been a fun adventure.
Oh,
And
thank you so
here,
much, Marissa. What's your favorite thing about being a parent?
I think it's being able to see that, like, just their childhood things, like just the fun things that they get to experience, just seeing like they just kind of have like this magicalness about them. And like, I think on the circle we were talking about and I was like thinking about the tooth fairy situation, and my kids all love the tooth fairy. And like my oldest, one day she was like 7, she was like, can you please send me a picture of you? And I was like, oh no. And I somehow edited a picture of myself with wings. So it was like there's like that magic of kids, and I just love that part.
Oh, thank you so much, Marissa. Ansara, how about you? What'd you major in school? What's your goals? And what's your favorite thing about being a parent?
Yeah, hello. My name is Ansara. So I actually attend a boot camp for software engineering. I'm enrolled part-time, so I started this January and I'll be finished with the program in October. Yeah, October of this year. And yeah, just I think I chose a boot camp because it just allows me the flexibility to be able to still be home with my kids during the daytime. So I like once I put them down, literally it's getting my laptop, hopping on, because my classes are in the evening. So definitely a lot of late nights, early mornings. I have 3 boys, 5 and under. Yeah, so toddler stage still haven't gotten to that teenager stage yet, but a 1, 3, and 5 year old. So all boys, very, very fun and a lot, a lot going on. But yeah, I would say my goal definitely is to get a job as a software engineer. Just yeah, so wanting to be able to support myself financially and my boys, my family financially. So that's why I chose to start school and wanting to do that in a condensed amount of time. So I decided to do the boot camp route. Yeah, I would say my favorite thing about being a parent, I think it's just watching them grow and seeing how like these once very helpless human beings are now like able to walk and they're talking, they're asking for stuff. I know this is so random, very, very random, but even yesterday, my 5 year old told me, he said, "Oh, I want when I get older and when I'm an adult." He has a lot of stuff he wants to do when I'm an adult. When he says when I'm an adult. So I'm like, that's a lot. But he said, when I'm an adult, I want to have people come up to my house and I want to cook for them and I'm gonna have to make sure I make a big table. And I asked him like, "Oh, who do you want to invite? What type of people do you want to invite over?" He was like, "I want to invite people over with big bottoms." And I was like, "What?" So that's my life. It's so random. I was
Oh,
like, what are
What's
you talking about?
he heard something about big
Maybe,
bottom people being amazing at some
maybe.
point.
Yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
I
that's
I mean, I don't think he probably had to go too far into like music to figure out
oh yeah,
that
yeah.
big bottom
So
people are the ones to bring. Um,
yeah.
thank you so much, and Sarah. Lauren, tell us a little bit about yourself and your favorite thing about being a parent.
Hi, everyone. I am Lauren Williams. I will be graduating from UC Davis with my managerial economics degree in just 6 weeks, and I'm very excited about that. Like Anna, I have been going nonstop actually for 5 years because I did a certificate program prior to going back to get my degree. And I really am just happy that it is coming to an end. College as a parent has been a true experience. And I can say that I have been doing my best to be a change maker on my campus because of the experiences that I had. And my favorite thing about being a parent is to see their dreams expand by the interactions that they have, and not just coming to my campus, but like the things they watch and how their small dreams turn bigger and bigger as time goes on. I have a 5 and a 7-year-old, one daughter and one son. And so, like, my son is determined that he is going to build rockets and robots and cloning machines, and my daughter is going to be a veterinarian rock star. So, seeing that evolution is something that I really love about being a parent.
I love that so much. And yeah, you can tell, like my son, I asked him the other day what he wanted to do when he was older, and he was like sleep. So like, you know what phase we're in, right? It's not rock star veterinarian, which is amazing. And please make sure that I connect with your daughter's socials when she's on there so I can follow her career. Brianna, tell us about yourself
Hello,
and
everyone.
your
Um,
favorite thing. Yeah.
my name is Brianna. I recently just graduated from Mercy University, majoring in marketing, minoring in entrepreneurship. I graduated fall of last year, but like Marissa, my ceremony is this year, May 12th. So I'm excited for that. Right now, goals are just they were all over the place. I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to decide between masters and what I want to do, but we are going to get certificates and expand on my expertise in marketing to get some better understanding with that. I am a mother of a 2-year-old little girl. They do say terrible twos. I don't know what phase I'm in right now. I'm getting everything at this point. I'm giving 2-year-old, 30-year-old, sometimes 40-year-old. It's a lot going on at my house. So just pray for me. But she's amazing though. The moments I love with her is just watching her grow. She goes to a Montessori school, so her development skills are like amazing, and just hearing her being very vocal. I will share last night was on the phone with my dad, and my dad was talking about something, and here she goes, I don't want to talk to you right now. I said, okay, okay. And that's okay. So, but yeah,
Amazing.
I'm so excited to be a part of this organization and working with the lovely student parents that you see. They're amazing, and I'm glad that we're here today and that y'all are here to watch us.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brianna. Eva.
Hi everyone, my name is Eva and I graduated in December of 2024 and I'm currently doing my master's at UTRGV. I'm going for business administration and marketing. And my favorite thing about being a parent is watching my child grow. I have a 2-year-old son and I just love watching him grow, and he's starting to talk as each day goes by, and you know how it goes. He makes his own little language, and I just enjoy hearing that little language of his. And I'm so excited to connect with everyone and work with everyone here.
All right, ladies, thank you so much for those lovely intros. I'm going to start limiting your time now. Um, you only get one word to answer this next question. Are you ready? One word. That's all you get to give me. What is one word your child would use to describe you? One word. That's all we need. How about we start with Ansara? Ansara.
Busy.
Busy. Eva.
I'd say resilient.
Brianna.
I say determination.
Lauren.
Fast.
Anna.
Compassionate.
Compassionate. And Marissa.
Organized.
Wow, that's very varying. I love that. I love all of the different perspectives there. Okay, you get to talk to me a little bit more this time. If your college experience had a theme song, what would it be and why? And I'm just going to let anyone jump in and take this one. If your college experience had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Eye of the Tiger, because it has been a fight, but I'm getting to be a champion.
Love that.
I can go.
What
I've been playing this song a lot. I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross. I think just in life looks different, a lot of changes, and just like, oh, going to school, actually doing well. It's like, oh, I'm breaking into myself. So, yeah.
Anyone else?
I think
I
for me, sorry. I think for me, it'll be Life is a Highway. When I seen this question, I was like, maybe that's what describe it. Only because the journey with you being a student parent in school is like incredibly hard, but you can overcome the things, with just support and stuff like that. So I say Life is a Highway for me.
Love it. Anyone else have a song they would like to
My
use as their
the song that kept coming when I saw this question, the only song that came to my mind was Chariots of Fire theme song.
yeah. I love the victory and empowerment in all of these songs that we are hearing. All right, thank you so much for letting us get to know you. Now we're gonna move into some specific growth agency and belonging discussion. So what's gonna happen is I am going to randomly pick a person and you get to pick which category and how many stars you would like to ask. Each one of these is a different question. The 1 stars are a little bit easier, a little bit more breezy, like, what's a song that you would use to describe your college experience? The ones that are 4 stars might be a little bit more like vulnerable. But you get to decide if you want to, answer that question or not. You get lots of choices. Everyone okay on how we do it? Okay. So we are going to start with Brianna because she's the first one on my screen. Brianna, which question would you like to see?
Belonging. And
Belonging,
let's say 3 stars.
3 stars. All right. When was the last time that you felt a strong sense of belonging on your campus or in a class? And what made that possible?
I would say graduating. Between my academic advisors and my career coach who supported me as well with my college journey, they saw my determination with school and me wanting to complete it. So my professors nominated me for awards, and I actually got 2. So I'll be receiving those on my graduation date. Well, I already received one, but I'll be receiving another one on my graduation date.
Wow. Such an amazing moment to have all of that recognition of your student parent journey and just feel like you did it. Congratulations. Anybody else want to talk about a time that you really felt a sense of belonging when you were on campus or in class?
I recently had an experience this quarter. It was my first day going into my class. It was my critical race theory class. And usually my teenage daughter will watch my son, but they were on their spring break. So she was off with my parents. And I couldn't find anybody to watch him. And my class was from 6:30 to 9:20 p.m. And I did not want to miss the first day of class. So I was like, I'm just going to go for it. And I brought him to class and I walked up to the very front. And the professor, I was like, I'm so sorry. I explained the situation. She's like, you have nothing to apologize for. Please sit down here in the very front if you'd like and have him participate with us. And she made me feel comfortable to still participate in class as we were going through. And she was okay with him being on his little tablet with his headphones in. So, and he actually kind of got excited and was like, oh, I won. And it was during her lecture. I was like, I'm so sorry. And she was like, it's okay, don't worry.
Wow, that's amazing. That is what we call the student parent champion. Anyone else have the honor of one of those folks helping you feel like you belonged in college?
This was more so during an interview before applying for the school, or an interview for applying for the school I was currently enrolled in, the boot camp. I remember I was also trying to find a sitter, but it fell through during the interview, but it was during their nap time. So I'm like, oh, they'll hopefully be okay. But that day they decided and said, nope, we're gonna act all the way up. So I just remember like it was a virtual interview, and I just remember like the guy who was interviewing me, I, kept apologizing and just saying, "Hey, I'm sorry." They were just like banging on the door, screaming, and he was like, I don't hear it. It's fine." And there was even one part in the interview where I said, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but can I please go check on my kids because they're doing a lot?" He was like, "Yeah, no problem." So, yeah, just his compassion, like, didn't seem like he held that against me, that I kind of was a little distracted. But yeah, I felt like he was definitely a champion then.
Amazing. Those people are so important. If you're interested in learning more about how to create campus champions, we are launching some community work with Marissa leading that, and really excited to see what happens there. All right. Since I just called you out, Marissa, give us a question you'd like to dive into.
I'll do the growth, and I'll try for the 3-star.
Ooh, I'm liking the 3-star vibe. That's 3 stars in a row. Okay, here we go. Can you share a time when you overcame something that you did not think you could? I mean, like specifically as a student parent or whatever. What helped you grow in that moment?
So when I was so something that happened. So my a little background in my stories. I went back to school at 40. And so when I went to apply for school, I didn't pass my math because I haven't done it for like 20 years. So I had to take math all over again. And that included like statistics and the hard math. And I still have to do a little bit more with my master's, but I just remember just being so like overwhelmed thinking I have to do math all over again. And I just even remember when I did the placement test, I'm like, I don't know any of this. Like what happened to my brain? And I was really frustrated that I had to take math all over again because when I placed, I didn't even place to like the norm. I went down to like the lowest level of math, and I was um, just kind of buckled up and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And something that helped me grow in that moment was my own kids who I homeschool, and I have to teach them math and fractions and algebra. And so that kind of gave me the push where I'm like, okay, if I do this, I will be able to help my kids and teach them. And so I excelled with a math, and I did my hardest. And it was so funny because my kids would watch me doing algebra and almost calculus, and they're looking at me and they're like, why are you putting yourself through this? Like, why are you doing this, Mom? Like, you don't have to. I'm like, I'm doing this for myself and for you. And so it was like this really like empowering moment of like, I did something that was really hard. And because of math, I feel like my brain is like more sharp in my thinking. So um, it was basically my kids who kind of helped me give me that strength of like, okay, you're going to do this for your kids, you're going to do it for yourself and your degree. So that was something that really helped.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I hear you with math. Um, and you know, I think we can probably like find a math professor to hang out in the community and just like answer random questions when we have them, right? I know that my kids are always asking me math things now, and I don't know any answers. Um, thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else want to share a time that you overcame something and tell us like what really helped you grow through in that moment?
I will go. I was homeless for part of my community college journey, and it was really a struggle. And I remember living out of hotels and things like that, trying to make sure that I got through this college experience. And I really had good support throughout my community college community from Umoja and the Basic Needs Center, and just being able to have that support has gotten me where I am today. So I really appreciate that there were people that were there for me, and I wouldn't be here without them. So
Amazing. Thank you so much. Anyone else have a moment where you had to overcome something that felt too big? And what was it that helped you grow?
I I I want to share the same sentiment as Lauren. Like I wouldn't have been able to do it without support and community. I remember my first full-time semester that I took on. I was still just overcoming mental health issues and also coming out of an abusive relationship and being in a custody fight for my son. And then out of nowhere, my daughter gets her first seizure. After a couple of visits, you know, they ended up diagnosing her with epilepsy. And I just know I would not have been able to make it through without the community that I had on campus and also my education, you know, because I fell in love with education and I realized how empowering it was. And I just didn't want to give up because I knew that education was going to be the one thing that was going to give me stability, especially in that moment that I realized that my daughter was going to need medical care for the rest of her life.
Mm. And I can't imagine how much everyone on this call who's been a student parent talking about these moments that we've had to overcome, layering just in that reality that you're not just a full-time parent, but you're also a student and you have so many different people who need your attention, right? Um, thank you. We're gonna go back. And this time I am seeing Eva. Eva, which question would you like, growth agency or belonging friend?
I will go with belonging and I'm gonna choose the 2-star.
2 stars? All right, we'll take a break from the heavy stuff for a moment. All right, friends, this one's a fun one. If you could design a room of belonging for student parents, what would be on the walls, in the air, and in the conversations? Eva, you get to go first.
So if I could design a room of belonging, um, so for the walls, I'd put like alphabet letters for kids, and I'd also put like numbers, um, also like those little boards,
Mm-hmm.
and like play games. Well, the little kids can. And I'd also put like words of encouragement, posters of encouragement, like, oh, you go, like mom or dad, stuff like that. I'd also put up like a board where people can share um, like anything exciting that they had, that they did like throughout the week, just to get them going, or like leave like positive notes and stuff like that. And the conversations would be, this is a tough one. Um,
No, not that hard.
I guess more like, huh, like asking each other, like, oh, like, how do you study with your little one? And, like your bedtime, how do you manage that? And just stuff like that.
Those like practical parenting tips, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those help a lot when you're a student parent. And like it's very helpful learning about each other, other people's tips and tricks. I feel like that's helped me a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone want to add anything to this room of belonging?
Yeah, I will add. The first thing that came to mind was like childcare. So it'll be like a great big room, literally. One area where their children could come and play. So like based on what Eva said, with studying, maybe they children could be in this play area with someone monitoring it, obviously. But then you have the student parents on the other side of the room doing their study buddies and all those type of things. Um, I would say what will be on the walls along with like the alphabet, just words of affirmation, um, similar to what we said about what would our children describe us in one word. Those can be on the walls to, give us the reminder of why we go hard each and every day. In the conversations, being vulnerable, just being upfront and honest. I appreciate Anna and Lauren sharing their story. Um, because I feel like that's how you see through student parents and what they have to go through on a daily basis to get to where they are. And it's hard work and it takes like a lot, and mentally it takes a lot. So you have to have a room of support. So that will be in the conversation. Um, and also, what can we do better as student parents, to stand up for one another? What is something that we can implement to take charge on? Hence, sport. So, yeah.
Hence sport.
I was
Anything?
I was actually thinking about it would be like Costco where they had like samples for all the kids. And then we would have like booths for the parents where they could just like relax.
I love
So just
that.
like a place where everybody has something.
So are we okay, I'm gonna ask, are we doing like wine in this space or coffee in this space?
It would be like charcuterie for the parents and then like
Okay.
goldfish for the kids.
Okay. Okay. Did you say goldfish?
No,
Goldfish.
like goldfish.
Oh, I love it. Anybody, I think snacks are critical. I think if I ever had an office again where students were coming to see me, I would make sure that I had snacks on deck for little ones. Um, Anyone else add anything to the room of belonging for student parents?
I'd say like a refrigerator for people to put like their lunch in there, but also like nursing moms to put like their, their breast milk there.
Amazing, amazing. Yes. Anyone else? What has to be in our room of belonging?
I was gonna say, I know you mentioned snacks for kids, but I would also say snacks for adults. I think sometimes when we have snacks around our kids, we no longer have them. So I think snacks just for parents.
I love that the snacks have to have rules so that our children don't take them. That is such real life. Amazing. All right. Well, we are going to skip into the next activity here. Um, So these questions, friends who are attending our webinar, you will get this deck that has all of these questions linked so you can have this own conversation in your setting as if you would like. But now we want to dive just a little bit deeper into how thinking about growth, agency, and belonging and how better understanding our student parents can actually help us create better programs and better processes. So our student parent friends are going to help us out with an empathy map. We use empathy maps, or you could think about these as user maps, to help us understand how our target population, in this case, student parents, are experiencing whatever the scenario is that we are working for. So in the chat, if someone could put in a scenario that a student parent would have to face pretty regularly. We just need one chat. This is like an improv-y moment. So just go ahead and give us like one scenario that a student parent would have to navigate. I see cooking dinner. I see conflicting deadlines. Oh, let's add that. Okay. We're going to add meeting a deadline while having a sick kid. That is going to be the thing that we are thinking about right now. We have a deadline and we have a sick child. So our proto persona is clearly a student parent who is relying on daycare. Am I making an assumption there? Does that feel right to everybody? Give me like a quick thumbs up, panelists, if a student parent who relies on daycare sounds like the person we're thinking about. Okay. So, panelists, really quickly, we'll start with and Sarah. What are you thinking in this moment as a student parent who has a sick kid and a deadline? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I mean, I think the top two priorities, I think both things are important, but obviously I think taking care of the sick child is, I would place that above, the deadline. So I would ask and see if like, okay, is there a way that I could have an extension, talk to the professor or something, explain my situation, to try to see if that's something that can work. And then if not, and also while trying to do that, seeing if there was a way that maybe someone could offer childcare for my child. So I think those would be my two main things to see if either one of those options can happen.
So you're like thinking logically, what am I going to do? How am I going to get my kid to take care of them? But also now you have to prioritize things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Makes sense. Anna, what would you be thinking or feeling in this situation?
I would be feeling overwhelmed because my education is very important to me, and having a 4.0 GPA or as close as I can is very important if I want to try to get into law school. Because in the end, I think about that as a way of being able to financially be able to provide for my children in the long run. So I would be overwhelmed, but like Ansara said, our children come first. And sometimes, that's where we have to realize like, man, I'm just gonna have to suck it up if this professor is not going to, be willing to give me an extension or understand my circumstances, because unfortunately there is professors who are like that. That I would be feeling extremely overwhelmed with having to deal with both on my own without any physical support, like, living on my own on campus without parents nearby or family or friends.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, Marissa, what are the things that you're hearing when you're going through this? The messages in your head, the things people are saying to you. You're a student parent, you have a deadline, and you have a sick kid. What are you hearing?
I think most of it would be like my inside voices of trying to do both. And I'm just like, and I want to get the 4.0, like everything has to be done. Like I have just a high standard for myself educationally, but then also high standard for my kids. And sometimes I think every parent kind of has that guilt, like they feel when everything, they can't do everything. And especially like when Anna was talking about epilepsy, it was reminding me of like my son had his last seizure like the week after I had finished my degree. And I felt relieved in a way where I'm like, okay, at least I don't have anything to turn in. But it was like that helpless state of like being in the hospital like for 2 days and trying to figure out what do I do um like as a parent. And I can't, because medically sometimes you can't. Like one month my son, he cut himself and he had to get stitches, and it's like the things I hear in my voice is like the parent guilt, and most of it is that. Whereas I feel like with education, even if you can't meet that deadline, a lot of it, it's like I think you can almost empower yourself in your mind, like you're going to do it, you're going to get it done. But with your child, it's this helpless element that you add to the picture, where if they're sick or hurt or detrimental, there's nothing you can really do, and just basically pray that they get better. And many times when they're sick and I'm having to meet a deadline, they're like right next to me, and I'm trying to, and luckily I do on, most of them are online classes where they're next to me and I could care for them. But still, it's like that parent guilt of I wish I could help you, but I can't.
Mm. Eva, what do you look for if you're a student parent and your child is sick and you have a deadline? What are you looking for? What are you seeing that could be a solution in your home, your neighborhood, friends, family, services? What are you doing? What are you seeing?
For me, I try to like reach out to my professor and to the advocacy center or the accessibility services for support, as well as my family, and plan things around.
Thank you so much. Lauren, what are you going to say and do in this situation? Oh, wait, I don't think Lauren's with us anymore. Excuse me. Who haven't I talked to yet?
Me, I can answer.
Brianna, tell me, what do you say and do? What are we gonna say and do?
Yeah, if y'all want me to be really honest, my child does come first when it comes down to school. Like, I'm sorry, if this paper can't be turned in at 11:59 p.m., it just won't get turned in. And if you don't have like an extension, and it is what it is. We just come back to it later. But I feel like because at that point, you're not willing to support me and understand what I have going on. But this is what I have to do first, and it's like no negotiation at all because this is who she's relying on. So.
Yeah. Wow, it's like that moment of like, this is my child, right? Like, I understand that you have a paper, but this is also my child. All right, thank you so much for helping us kind of get into the mindset of a student parent. For the last step, we're just going to go through really quickly, just like less than 10 seconds. Um, Anna, let's start with you. How can we support a student parent's ability to grow when their kid is sick and they have a deadline? What do they need to be able to grow?
We need professors to understand us, and if they don't, we need someone designated to us to advocate for us.
Thank you. Marissa, what is something that we can do to make sure that when student parents are in that situation, they have agency or they have options?
Like the word that I kind of like when I used to work in like the corporate setting, it was like the odd, they called it an ombudsman, where it was like this person who was like outside of the, I guess like the workers, or I guess would be outside of like the professors, but where you kind of have a place to go and say, hey, I have this situation. I need that extension. I need the extra support. I need this is what I need for my situation, where I don't have to like prove and get them. I mean, most of it's like if there was like a medical, you could probably say, hey, this is where I'm at. I have the paperwork. This is what's actually happening. But like, let's say I have a kid who's just like throwing up because he got food poison. Like I need that without having to show a note and prove my
Right.
situation.
Right. And then Brianna, let's wrap it up. What does that student parent need to feel a sense of belonging?
Support and that you care.
Mm.
Showing up. Let's say that.
Showing up for that student parent. All right, student parents, thank you so much. Participants in the audience, I have another Chatterfall for us. So get your chat open, get ready. This is another two-parter, but it's okay. You're used to this by now. You are pros. So now, after hanging out with us and getting to hear from our student parents, how confident do you feel in your ability to identify and implement those strategies to support them better? And with the words, what is one concrete step you feel like you could take to support student parents today, right now, in your setting, in your context? Remember, don't hit send yet. Take a second. Everyone's typing their answers, but don't hit send yet. I'm going to give you all a second. After participating, how do you feel? One concrete step you can take to support student parents. All right, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Cheddar. Continue funding snacks. Yes, Teresa. The snacks are vital. I see advocation, doubling down on resources. Lots and lots of good things. Motivating within your scope. Yes, Mallory. That's very close to us. All right, friends, we have just a couple of goodies to give you as you leave our wonderful session today. First, if you have not yet joined SPORG or joined our student parent space, this is a free space for you to join. There's a giant QR code. You'll also get a link in an email and a follow-up email with our recording tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are opening up our design challenges. Those are 7 different areas led by many of the lovely panelists we had with us today to look at a specific area of focus, like how can we support students who are pregnant, or how can we think about childcare differently to support student parents better. Join those if you like. You'll get all that information tomorrow once they open. You'll see it in our circle community. You'll notice that today we had we had all student parent mothers. Student parent fathers are a voice that is often missed and often invisible in this space. So next month, we'll be doing a lot of work to understand and talk with student parent dads. We will have a spotlight series coming to you in the month of June to highlight several incredible student parent fathers and their journeys, so we can start changing that conversation around student parent dads. And then, of course, if you would like to join our next webinar, Kylie, Title I or Title IX lawyer from Bricker and Graydon, will be joining us to help us think about what do we have to do legally to support our students in our classroom policies and campus policies, but also how can we make sure that we're really making policies that will help our students succeed? So that is what's going. And of course, you never leave an engagement with us empty-handed. We have a couple of goodies to give you. Again, you will get these all in an email with access to the deck and the recording. We are going to send you, if you would like to have conversations with students in your own context, but you weren't quite sure where to start or how to do it, we have some conversation starters. So you can click on those buttons. It'll send you right over to some conversation starters. And it even tells you, if you know the student really well, here's a good question. Or if you're just getting to know the student, here's a question. So make sure you check that out. Also, just a side tip, as a person who's like done a couple of these, it really helps students open up if you create an anonymous space first before you start reacting and discussing with them. So whether it's a sticky on a wall or a Slido, give students some way to respond anonymously first, because it helps them become a little bit more open when you're having that discussion after. So that's one tool we're giving you for growth, agency, and belonging, so you can start talking about that in your context. The other tool that we are giving you is that empathy map template that we just talked through with the panelists will be coming to you. 3 different versions of it, one for print, one to project on a wall, or one to present virtually. And you can use those. Let us know how it goes. Always come back and tell us how those tools work. And finally, our most favorite thing to give to our friends is our virtual gallery walk. If you are a person who is trying to build support for student parents in your context, think about checking out this gallery walk. This is free, open, you can take it, use it in department meetings, use it in team meetings, use it when you're trying to expand this motivation. This is research that we did with student parents. Everything on this board comes from student parents, and it's an in-depth, immersive look at what their day and what their life is like navigating college. Remember, that's 1 in 5 or 1 in 3 if you're a community college students is navigating this world. So feel free to jump in. And when you're looking at this map, there's lots to see when you get there, when you click on it, tons and tons to see. But all of those open books are little empathy maps that were created for you by student parents, so you can see that empathy map a little bit more. Thank you so much again for attending our first webinar. You all were an amazing audience. We appreciate you. Please make sure that if you have not, you join that community. I put that giant QR code back up on the screen for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please make sure you join the community so you can get our updates. We hope that you got a little peek at student parent growth, agency, and belonging. Have a great day, everyone.